Rockeyez would like to welcome Holly Hines, Angel's Revenge. Hey, how's it going today?
I'm doing great, Brian. How are you?
Very good, very good. I just found out about Angel's Revenge from my friend Jeff Westlake of Hydrogen, and he passed me on to you, and I listened to the CD this morning, and there's a couple tracks I really, really enjoyed. But tell me a little bit about the background of the band.
All right, so the background of the band, basically two or three of us, me, my bass player Jacob, and my drummer Justin, got together, I guess it's been about 2.5 years ago now. I think it was the summer of 2013. And we decided we wanted to put together a little music project. And during the time, we didn't really have a direction. We didn't, it was kind of that time where we really didn't know where we were going with it. We just knew we wanted to make some music. So now going back to almost 2010, I think it was, is when I actually met Jeff Westlake. And we worked on a previous project together, and out of that came, not only a great friendship, but a wonderful business partnership as well. And so he contacted me again in, I think it was July of 2013, right about the time me and Jacob and Justin were kind of starting to put things together. And he says, I want to work with you on another project. I want it to be something new, something heavy, and which I was definitely on board for. And we came back home and put the rest of our band together with Sam and John on guitar. And then we went up to Kentucky. Just Jacob and I actually went up to Kentucky to spend a weekend with Jeff at his Ridgeline Production Studios and go over some demos and things that we had been working on, and see if we had something that we could work together on. And basically, long story short, we came back home with a band name and several good starter demos. I think Angel's Revenge and As Time Goes On were the first two, I guess you can call them usable tracks off of the album. So
wow, having a front woman in a band, you always think about a popish song and stuff like that. Angel's Revenge is far from any kind of pop music at all. Listening to the CD, which is Blood, Sweat, and Fears, and actually, that's my favorite song also on the album. I really enjoyed the directions. It's some melodic and then gets really heavy and kind of eerie at different points and stuff like that, which I really liked. And let's go down some of the songs that I really enjoyed, like Blood, Sweat, and Fears. Can you tell me anything about that song, how to come up with and everything else?
Yeah, well, absolutely. Well, first of all, Blood, Sweat, and Tears is probably my favorite track on the album.
Right.
During the time that we were trying to put together a concept for the album, we didn't know what we wanted it to be called. We tossed around the idea of having just a self-titled thing, just calling it Angel's Revenge and, whatever, which was fine. But the Blood, Sweat, and Fears actually came about from our designer, our art designer that was working on the artwork for the album, and he was putting together the artwork, and he calls me into his office one day and he goes, I really think you need something. You don't need to go with a self-titled thing on this. I don't know what it's going to be yet, but I think you need to have more of a theme. So I'm like, okay. So basically, in a whole, that whole album was wrapped around lots of blood, sweat, and tears. Right. Lots of emotions, lots of sadness, a lot of hatred, a lot of revenge, a lot of things like that were written into it. So I came up with Blood, Sweat, and Tears, and Skylar Turner, our art designer, he goes, okay, I think I can go with that. And then it probably wasn't 30 minutes later, and he calls me back into his office, and he says, what do you think about Blood, Sweat, and Fears? Let's do a little play on words. And I'm like, oh, wow, that's awesome. And during the time that conversation was happening, we were actually toying around with the music for Blood, Sweat, and Fears. It had the music laid out. I had a melody worked out, but I didn't have a concept for what I wanted to write about yet. And so Skylar gave me that idea, and I went home that night and wrote Blood, Sweat, and Fears.
Wow. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Cool story about that and stuff like that. Another song I really like is Blind. Can you tell me anything about that track?
Blind to the Eyes of the Martyr.
Right.
Yeah. That song, that one actually is a really funny story. That song got thrown away, I think, about 4 times
Wow.
during the recording process. Yeah. We went up there. I think that was one of the ones that Jacob and I presented Jeff with on one of the first trips up there. And, Jacob recorded the demos for it. He recorded the guitars and the bass and all that. And at the time, I didn't know what direction I wanted to go with it yet. And I was kind of toying around with another idea that, again, I recorded a short demo for, but I wasn't pleased with it. Jeff wasn't pleased with it. Jeff's one of those guys that he's an open book. You can see it on his face. He doesn't have to say anything. So I could kind of tell, this is not really working. So we threw it in the trash. We came back home and we started working on some of the stuff with the other guys. And Justin, our drummer, goes, "Man, this song is just, I love it. I love playing it. I love the energy. I love the potential for the harmonies and the guitars. I love this song. We really don't need to throw this away." And so we worked on it and worked on it. We went back to Jeff with it, I think, another time or two. Before we actually came up with Blind to the Eyes of the Martyr. And those lyrics, again, they just sort of came to me overnight. And it's sort of something that everybody can relate to in those lyrics. So, but yeah, that song got thrown away many, many times, and I'm so glad that it survived the cut.
Cool. How'd you hook up with Jeff?
Jeff, 2010, I think it was. I was involved in another band at the time here in North Alabama, and we were kind of playing around locally, and a man that lives here in Huntsville that owns a studio here locally knew Jeff, and we happened to be working with the guy at the time trying to put together a little kind of a garage band demo of our own, and his name is Scott Clayton, and Scott knew Jeff. And Scott says, I really think I want to introduce you to Jeff Westlake. I think he's really going to like this music that you're doing. I think, just for one reason or the other, whatever it may be, he just thought that Jeff and I were going to click. And he was absolutely right. And the thing is that project that I was working on at the time was not obviously what was going to take me to this point, but it's what got me here. So I'm very thankful for it. So yeah, Jeff produced an album there, and again, it was kind of like a, not necessarily garage band. We did play around here locally, but it wasn't anything near as serious and, career oriented as what we have made Angel's Revenge into.
Right. Now, the release is in February. What are your hopes after the release?
Sky's the limit, man. I just hope, album comes out February 6th. I'm looking forward to hearing all the results, all the feedback. Up to this point, we've gotten lots of good feedback from everyone that's been able to hear samples and things like that. So I really have high hopes. I think it's going to go over great. I want to go. My ultimate goal is to get this thing pushed out overseas. I want to see the world.
Cool. Everybody does.
Yeah.
So do you feel, making a physical CD is really worth it anymore compared to everybody? Not everybody, but a lot of people are going to be downloading.
Yes, I absolutely do. And the reason why I've had so many people tell me just over the course of the last year, I've actually had people approach me and say that they were glad we were doing a physical release, because there's still so many people in the world that love to have that physical product in their hand. They appreciate the art.
Right.
They appreciate getting to, look at all the hard work that goes into writing all these lyrics. When you have your lyric sheets all written out and everything is as artsy as it is, there's a whole lot of work that goes into that, and I think there's still a lot of fans out there that appreciate that.
Right. Wow. Well, congratulations on the new CD, and, I hope you the best, and, I enjoyed the CD. I can't wait to do the review. And,
awesome.
I thank Jeff Westlake for hooking me up with you. And would you like to say anything to the fans out there?
I would just like to say that I hope you guys enjoy the release as much as I enjoyed creating it. And rock on.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.